stutters or whatever, we've got a pause button. If you want to restate, we can. We'll try. All right. Woo! Hi, I'm Erin Petershik. I'm here with Mr. Brandon Newton, who is part of the group that tackled the question of digital transformation. What does that really mean for the NGO sector, and how, as organizations, can we move that forward? What are the skills that people truly need to develop, and what are some specific strategies or ideas that we brainstormed in our work group? Brandon, you tackled the topic of leadership and culture. Can you give us briefly an overview of what people came up with?
Sure. So what you want to do first is adopt this philosophy of continuous improvement. Once you have that, you can get really good buy-in from both your executive sponsors to make sure that they support the change, the digital transformation, and from your early adopters in the organization. You want to prove to them that this works, that this is really good for your organization. By asking the right questions, how does this change the way that we recruit or do our day-to-day business? And then lastly, you want the leadership skills to maintain this. You want to have those understanding. You want to make sure that you have the prioritization skills so that you can maintain this digital transformation. And that's really it in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, what a great bunch of ideas from a great group. Thanks for being the spokesman, and we know that leadership is important, so we got to start from the top and work from the bottom too. So thanks for being at the top. So tell us a little bit more about collaboration and knowledge sharing.
All right, thank you. There is this African proverb that it says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go farther, go together. So collaboration and knowledge sharing is to go together. Without it, it won't happen. Digital transformation is not just for one area. It's for all of us, from top to bottom, bottom to top, sides, everywhere. From IT, HR, finance, programs, field offices, everyone has to be part of it. Sometimes we think that it's just for the young millennials that can really quick do it, but it's also for the older people. We can do it.
Yes, we can.
We need to have an open place for learning and sharing, and we need to be not afraid. We can all do it. You know, if our kids can do it, so can we. So don't be afraid to look at our weaknesses. You know, we need to learn from it.
Yeah, very important. A little status of the industry there, and then we'll tackle the gaps as we identify them. Thank you so much, Maria. Stevie Trittin talking about change management.
Thank you very much. So what we discussed about change management and how it impacts us in kind of a digital perspective was identifying the trends that are going on, not just in the NGO world, but also what's happening around the globe. How are other people adopting the changes? So engaging change agents, making sure that we have a plan for really fully adopting the change into the culture, which is some of the key highlights.
Makes sense. Thanks so much for that great summary. We have Tina talking about, we have Kristen talking about skills and abilities. What are the skills and abilities that people are going to need in these organizations?
Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to really dive into what all those skills and abilities are, but we recognize that there is an important part of maintaining the traditional function of HR to be able to define those skills and abilities and understand them, but also recognizing at the same time we might not get there fast enough, and that one of the key skills that people need in the future is learning how to learn, because it's going to be so rapid. That's going to be one of the key skills that will help get us there. We also talked briefly about the need to be accessible to everyone, so that everybody can come along on this journey together. And I'm looking at my colleagues who have one more key point to bring, that people understand where their work fits, and so that learning is integral of that and where they fit in the big picture so that they can have that analytical and creative thinking.
Absolutely. Learning culture and learning agility totally makes sense to me. Let's talk about training. Adam, can you come up and talk about the training side of that?
Yeah, thanks for that segue, Erin. I think training is so critical. One of my colleagues from NetHope talked about their focus being people, process, and technology, and I think training really hones in on the people aspect of that. And I think there are 4 critical components to training that we discussed as a group. So one is on-the-job training, right? That's the experience we all have in our daily work, and that's really critical, just to learn from our colleagues. The next is learning from subject matter experts, learning in face-to-face training opportunities, and I think that's really important too. The next one is micro-learning opportunities. So that's when you're sitting at your desk, maybe you have 10, 15 minutes, you can devote some of that time to like learning a new skill in a short video, for example. The fourth thing, which I think is really interesting, is gamification of learning. So how can we make learning fun for everyone? And as my colleague Kristen said, open it up for everybody, right? The last kind of fifth idea I wanted to talk about is having the time and the space for learning. That really touches on some of these other themes. So we have to have leadership support to really allocate that time to learn new skills.
Right. Some great specifics again. Thank you so much for building on that. And finally, we'll finish up with communication and the technology side. We can't ignore that when we're talking about digital transformation. So, Tina Boulding, can you tell us a little bit about what the group discussed around communication and tech?
Sure, there were a couple of key points that came up. First of all was socializing concepts through informal networks. So being able to understand what are the different channels of communication, how do people communicate with one another, what kind of technology can we use. A couple that were noted was WeChat, WhatsApp, of course we know that there's Skype, there's all different types of communication tools out there. But really being able to use informal networks, understanding who the champions are, how they communicate with one another, and then being able to utilize staff as mentors and teachers. So there's a whole concept of being able to communicate with one another, learn from one another in peer-to-peer learning ways, and the tools that we use to do that. From a technology perspective, the main one that was identified was troubleshooting. So being able just to identify where they're having issues and being able to resolve those quickly.
Yeah. There are some great apps out there. They're kind of like the Uber of technology, like, hey, I'm having a problem. So you can use that to call for help and crowdsource solutions from those peers and those end users. So great summary. Thanks so much. Well, we hope that this gave you a little bit of an insight into the conversation that we had. We know it's more than 2 to 3 minutes, but damn, it was good.